Hello everybody, my name is Emanuela Dilma Idea Girl. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about TB and we're going to visit a patient of TB, Mama Rehema. She had suffered from the disease, her and her daughter. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, Rehema, umegrow?
Amekuwa, but the challenges that I've been through, it has been long. She was sick.
Okay, so today I visited you and because of the same problem, I wanted us to talk.
Okay, let's just have a sit outside here. Then I'll tell you my full story.
Getting on well?
Yeah, I'm getting well.
So, how did you first know that you had TB?
Okay, I got TB when I was taking care of my mother at Kapsabet Referral Hospital, where there was a lady there that she was suffering from TB. So I came out from there. After there, I started having signs and symptoms, like I had a cough, a persistent cough. I was sweating at night. I started losing weight, losing appetite. I was not taking food.
So how, after having those signs and symptoms, what was your next step?
Okay, I decided to go to an hospital where I was given some drugs. I came back home. I took those drugs and it was persisting. I decided to go back. And after there, I was diagnosed that I had TB. I was given drugs for TB. I took those drugs. After there, the baby also started coughing, having night sweats. I decided to take her. So I took her to hospital and she was also diagnosed that she had TB. She was also given the drugs. We took the drugs for about 3 months, but it was also persisting, no change. We were just losing weight, no appetite, coughing, persistent coughing. So we just decided to change an hospital. We went to another hospital, which is Matungu Hospital. There we were diagnosed also that we had drug-resistant TB.
So when you were diagnosed with TB resistant, what happened?
After I was diagnosed with TB resistant, I was referred to another hospital, which is Eldoret Referral Hospital, and I was admitted there for 3 months. It was not easy actually. But I decided to be patient because for really I was missing my family because they were far from me. So they were just coming to visit me every now and then, but I was feeling like I'm desperate. Why me? But I decided to be patient until I was referred back to the nearest hospital at home, where I was given a clinical officer who was coming to visit me while coming with those medicines of drug resistance. She was coming every now and then, every morning, every evening.
So which hospital was that?
Okay, it was Matungu sub-county hospital. Yeah, where I was treated there until I got well.
So what were the challenges that you faced?
Okay, challenges are too many. Even if I started saying I feel like I'm not happy with them because it was so hard. First, those drugs. For the baby, in fact, it was too much. Imagine I was giving the baby morning and evening. The doctor was coming from all the way from Matungu Hospital every morning, even if it is rainy season, she will make sure that she's coming to ensure that the baby has taken the drugs. Okay, it came there. Even my drugs also were too many. I could put into my hand like this, around 24 tablets. You can imagine, it was too much. So, but I said no, we will just struggle until we complete these drugs for us to be well, because I had faith that we are going to be well. Another thing, another challenge, the baby was every time sick, every now and then coming sick. But one day I decided to take her to the hospital, where I contacted my clinical officer. She came and took me to the hospital. We went to another hospital where we were rejected because there was COVID and the baby was not. They refused that they cannot admit the baby because he had difficulties in breathing. So they say that you have to confirm if you have COVID, and we didn't have those money, which was 7,000. So we came back to Matungu Hospital. At that time there was doctor's strike, which it was too difficult for me for my child to have treatment. But my clinical sister, Heda, okay, she was nice and she had to treat my child under the tree, which it was so. Okay, after there we came back home, but my clinical officer makes sure that we reached home. She gave us transport to come home, which actually I was appreciating her. And then the following morning she also came. She was coming with some fruits, whichever food that she makes on the way, she comes to give her my child. Okay, another challenge was, I was really, you know that as for TB patients, you need to be isolated because TB, you know that you can get, someone else can get TB. So I was isolated, but I thank my family, especially my husband. She never left me. He was with me every now and then. But above all, I have a lot of challenges. Above all, I would like to thank God for the baby. Rehema is here. I'm happy to see her. Secondly, I would like to thank the TB program for the financial help that they helped me. They actually boosted me somewhere. Another one, I would like to thank the county coordinator, Madam Emily Vuguza. She was there for us for the entire treatment. And then the Matungu Sub-County Hospital also, I would like to thank them. And then last but the strong person who really assisted me is my sub-county TB coordinator, who is Sister Catherine. May God bless you. May God grant you a lot of years to continue helping other people like us. Thank you.
Now, Daktari, I want you to explain to me more about TB because we have viewers watching.
Okay. TB is a disease that is so infectious. Anyone can get it. It doesn't choose a child, an adult. Anyone can get TB because it's an airborne disease. It depends with the contact of the bacteria that someone is exposed to. So it's a disease that when someone is suffering will present with symptoms like cough, chest pain, weight loss, hotness of the body, and with the children we normally have loss of appetite, failure to thrive. Children are not growing the way they're supposed to grow, and we realize that these children are also losing weight, but they also present with these other symptoms like cough, just like an adult. The children will develop loss of appetite and weight loss. Yeah. And the problem with the TB, I've realized there's a lot of stigma.
Now, Daktari, what was your experience with baby Rehema and Mama Rehema?
Hey, the experience, like, for now I can say it was so awesome. Because one, there was a lot of challenges and a lot of strength. I was able to learn a lot because this was a very unique case. You know, this was a child who was just 6 months old being diagnosed with the MDR, that is the drug-resistant TB. And you know, there's a challenge of drug toleration to this child, but I thank God we pulled it through. So maybe to begin with, I received Mama Rehema when she was already on treatment in another hospital. So when she came to our facility, we were able to do more checkups on her, and we were able to diagnose her with that TB and also the baby. So we referred her to Moi referral because the child was supposed to start treatment, and for this child to start treatment, it is a multidisciplinary approach because you know she's still very young. Now she has to be given treatment under very direct observation with a specialist. So she went then, she was there for 3 months, and then she came back. So when she came back, I tell you, first it was not easy because her drugs, again, we were supposed to be getting them from Eldoret. And I remember one day when she had just completed her doses that she came with, we needed to get more drugs from Eldoret, and we had a challenge of the transport, but we had to do all that we can. So I remember even using my personal vehicle to send the driver to go and bring those drugs. But I thank God that our pharmacist at the sub-county, after that period, she was able now to prepare those drugs from our hospital. So we continued. Again, there were some challenges. We know the program normally supports a healthcare worker to come and do medication at home during, that is, we call it DOT, that is direct observation therapy. You stand there as the child is taking drugs. You know, as those drugs are so many, the side effects are so severe, so if somebody is not monitored closely, actually they will not take the medication well. So I had to get someone to come as a DOT nurse to be doing that observation, but the major challenge that I got there, no healthcare worker was coming from within. So the closest healthcare worker was coming from Matungu, and now that meant that person should be coming here every day. And unfortunately, the baby was taking drugs in the morning and in the evening. So it meant that person was supposed to come in the morning and the evening, and that was so tiresome. And again, the support that is given, that is 200 per day for these healthcare workers, it was not enough. So another challenge, those drugs are supposed to stay in the fridge. As you can see, the home didn't have electricity that I even opted I could get a small fridge and put it here, but it was not possible for this nurse, for it to be easy for the nurse. So it meant the healthcare worker should go to Matungu, pick the drugs, come give the baby, and then take the drugs again back to Matungu. So for the first month, I was not able to get someone who was willing to sacrifice to do that. So I had to do it myself. So I could come here in the morning, during the day I go to do other activities, then again in the evening I come back. So I did that because I had that passion. I really wanted to help this child. I could look at this innocent soul and I said, no, I should just do all my best and then help this child. So it continued that way until later on I get a nurse. That is after now the dosage had been changed to OD. That was just once per day. So I had to get a nurse who was helping me to do the same. So another challenge that I faced during that time, this child became sick. And I remember that time there was a strike for clinic officers and nurses. and COVID had set in. So the mother called me and I just told her bring the child at the hospital. So when the child reached at Matungo Hospital, I realized the baby was so sick. The baby needed admission, and now we could not admit at our hospital. So I opted to go to a private facility nearby that I'm not going to mention the name. But surprisingly, I reached there with a very sick child. I tried to explain myself, who I am. I tried to explain the case of the baby. I thought they could understand. And I was so surprised that this was after even explaining myself who I was, the case of the baby, I thought they could understand and receive this child. But they said no, they have the measures they have put across about COVID. They are not admitting anyone with difficulty in breathing. So for us to be admitted there, they wanted us to do a COVID test first, which was being done at 7,000 at the facility. So, and again, it was not possible for us to do that. So I decided to go back with that child at my sub-county hospital, that is Matungo sub-county hospital. Luckily, the lab was functional and the pharmacy. So I was able to do some tests on the child and I realized the baby was having malaria. She was having a bacterial infection because when I did a full hemogram, the neutrophils were high. So I did those tests and I was able to come up with some treatment for the child. I started the treatment for malaria. I gave some antibiotic to the child. And now I had to inform my county boss about the case, of which she advised that I should take this child back to referral. But the mother refused. Putting in mind what she went through the 3 months that she was there, she was so lonely and I think she was tired. It was not easy for her. Now she refused to go back to referral. So I just did what I could and they came back home. So I had to make an effort of making follow-up. I remember the following day morning I came to visit the child and the child was still very sick that even I wished I could take to the hospital, but now I was incapacitated. So I just gave the medication and we thank God the child improved with the time. Yeah, the child improved.
That is so sad. But thank you, Dr. for your effort. I think this pediatric TB needs to be given more effort.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I really thank our program, the TB and leprosy program nationally. They are doing a lot about it. And us on the grassroots, actually, we just promised that we are going to do our best, and especially on early diagnosis, because that is the major challenge that we are facing, early diagnosis of TB in children. So my message maybe to my colleagues out there, when you see any child with any signs and symptoms, please, let's try our best and have an early diagnosis so that we start them on treatment as early as possible. And also not forgetting my county TB leprosy coordinator, Emily Vuguza. That lady, she's a superwoman. I remember when I was struggling with the Rehema here, she was with me throughout. I could call her anytime, giving me direction and supporting me until we achieved what we achieved. For now, I really thank God and we just pray that may God continue guiding us in what we are doing.